As you just read above, the space race of the late 50s and the 1960s was largely for show, and you can make a good case that sending men into space and ultimately landing people on the moon had no real practical value. So maybe it was just kind of a waste of money, really. But you could also make the case that all that spending on the space program, just the act of putting men into space and landing them on the moon, led to all sorts of technological progress and innovation, particularly in the computer industry, and all sorts of spin-off technologies from the space race will ultimately change and benefit the world. And of course, in the long run, those satellites that they were shooting into orbit would eventually transform our lives, making things like cell phones, modern weather prediction, GPS systems, and all the rest of it possible. This is a good example of something that only the federal government could have done, because in the short term, it made no financial sense to send people into space, and it was far too expensive. The government, for better or worse, can afford to lose lots of money sometimes. And while some of it could be wasted, there are times, particularly when the space race, when all that investment pays off in ways that people back then could not possibly have imagined. So today, I still think anyway, there's a role to be played by the federal government in the areas of research and technological innovation. And it's sad to see that the United States, which at one time helped create the space race, has kind of lagged behind in recent years because people think it's just not worth spending all that money.